When I first started Velocity, I was go, 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 go. It was so important to grow until life throws something at you and smacks you in the face. I continue to grow and evolve as a business owner and really understand that there's going to be a lot of challenges that are thrown at you.
Welcome to today's podcast. I'm super excited about our guest today and want to introduce you all to Tamara Dawn Ellestad from the Mooresville area of North Carolina.
Yep.
Welcome to the show.
Hi. Nice to see you.
And this is the Rudy Project and a series of descending into leadership, curating stories and lessons from thought leaders around the country.
Great.
And if you're just joining our podcast, I'm Rudy Vitavel, CEO of RV3 Consulting. We help businesses scale their revenue over a 6 to 12 month period.
Okay.
So if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth in the DMs and we'll set that up. So again, happy welcome to the show. And how are things down in Cornelius or Mooresville today?
It's going well. It's actually raining outside, so it's welcomed. My grass can definitely use it. So yeah, it's that time of year. Rainy season here. But it's nice.
Yeah, we've had a glorious fall up here in Michigan. September and early October were more like summer.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah, so just to give you yeah, you've got to come up here.
Yep, it's beautiful there. Yeah.
So yeah, just to broad stroke our time on the podcast today, we're just going to have a nice conversation about your industry and your background. So jump into your story here and then some insights into your industry and some business focused questions. And my favorite, client success stories are always great to highlight. So yeah, this is Tamara Dawn Ellestad. She is the founder and CEO of Velocity Consulting Services. And I love that you are WOSB certified, woman-owned and woman-owned small business.
Yes, we are.
Definitely want to touch on that.
Yeah.
So let's go back to like maybe 19 or 20-year-old Tamara Dawn. What are you studying in college, and then take it from there?
Awesome. Well, actually, I decided not to attend college. I was always very driven to make money, so I decided to move to Arizona to a new start. I'm originally born and raised from Colorado. Broncos are having a great season this year so far, so that's exciting. That's been way overdue. But yeah, so I moved to Arizona at 19 years old, and I actually didn't know what I was going to be doing with myself. And so I kind of fell into the windshield repair company. I started my own windshield repair company. And then by the time I was 21, I decided to sell it. I built it up big enough. I was supporting fleet accounts and used car dealerships, and sold my first company at the age of 21. And really decided that the windshield industry wasn't necessarily going to be my end all be all type thing. So from there, I I moved around a little bit. I was dating a wonderful gentleman at the time who was in the recruiting industry for fashion designers. for, Kate Spade, Ralph Lauren, Louis Vuitton, etc. Yeah. And he had told me, he's like, hey, you have such a great personality. You would be really good at recruiting. And I really didn't even know what that entailed. So, we built up a resume, didn't really have much to put on it outside of being an entrepreneur. And I went and knocked on doors of recruiting firms in the New York, the tri-state area. Someone gave me an opportunity. They just said, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to do on the sales? Do you want to be on the recruiting side? I said, I have no idea. They said, well, let's try out at both. And I go, okay, that sounds great. So I ended up, doing that. I really liked the recruiting side of it, but just having the gift to gab, I would meet people on the train and kind of just say, oh, well, what do you do for work? And ended up meeting a very nice gentleman on the PATH train going from New York City to Hoboken, New Jersey. And he told me that he was an IT manager and that he was looking for a software engineer. So I said, oh, well, I could find you a software engineer, not really knowing too much about software engineering at the time.
And way before the advent of the internet, where you could just get on there and. Yeah,
that's not how that worked at that time. This is early 2000s. So yeah, it did not work like that. And so, make a longer story short, I ended up opening up the IT division for the recruiting firm that hired me. And it ended up being their #1 division over the course of 3 years. I loved recruiting. I've been in it since. And that's kind of where, my journey began as far as staffing goes. It was really great. So for the last, 20 plus years, I was an information technology recruiter, and then worked for a lot of great organizations that taught me a lot. But from early on in my staffing career, I really knew and identified that I wanted my own company at some point, specifically because I felt like I worked for some, while I worked for amazing people, I felt like they were really overthinking it. And staffing isn't rocket science. You just have to kind of really understand how to connect the dots of job descriptions and what managers are looking for, and then what candidates are looking for, and kind of, match those two, and really just go from there. So, and fast forward to 2019, I established Velocity Consulting Services. We also go by Velo. And I just did it. Failure wasn't necessarily an option for me. I started the company with enough money in my savings account to float my life, so it wasn't really disruptive to the quality of life myself and my children had. And I gave myself 7 months to make it or break it. Failure wasn't an option in my mind, so I knew I had to do it. And I also had, two young girls that knew what I was doing, and I just said, "Hey, mommy's going to start her own company, and this is, it's going to be a lot of hard work and sweat and tears, and but this is going to work." And I want to say that thankfully I did create two little entrepreneurs out of them, who my youngest does actually want to go to school when she graduates in 2 years for international business and take over my company. So that's where Velocity came. We're actually not in information technology. I stumbled upon a new industry in advanced manufacturing, and it's been amazing. Just the growth that we have had. We did, we only did 100,000 in the first year I opened. And we have grown that to over a $20 million company in the last 5 years.
That's outstanding.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. It's been great. It's been a wild ride. Lots of ups and downs, but you just got to get through them.
Entrepreneur is French for fear of going hungry.
Oh, well then, yeah, I definitely didn't want to do that. So,
and how fortuitous that you got started about a year before COVID hit. Did that
geez.
time frame kind of help you get your footing, so to speak?
Yes and no. From a business owner standpoint, yes. Specifically because while the world was learning to work and adapt working from home, I had done it for 15 plus years already. So that challenge I never really faced. I was always very determined and, set up to work from home, and motivated to work from home. And I just knew how to do that. So I know while a lot of folks that I knew, entrepreneurs or not, that was a struggle for a lot of people is learning to navigate work from home, right? You have children, you have to really kind of, kids weren't in school. So there was a lot of moving parts during COVID, but I really just knew what to do. I had that all figured out from a long time, in business, honestly. But also as far as business goes, recruiting for folks that worked from home very often was easy for me to do. I knew what to qualify, what to say, what to ask to qualify candidates in or out for remote work. And, so that was pretty easy. And then as far as the industry that we were in advanced manufacturing, those facilities, they didn't come to a screeching halt. They did slow down a bit, but the fact of the matter is semiconductors, microelectronics, and those types of those types of that type of manufacturing really couldn't come to a screeching halt strictly because of the fact that is the way that we live every day. I really don't think people truly understand nor appreciate the fact that based on microchips and semiconductors, that's how the world goes around. It's insane that that's really how every form of communication that we go through on a daily basis is really because of microchips and semiconductors. It's some sort of chip that holds memory and it's just just speaks to other different areas of technology, so it all works together and makes the world go round, to be honest. Now it does. So yeah,
so true. I mean, the world of widgets, and in this case high technology widgets, most people don't think about the stuff that makes the world go around.
Oh, definitely. No, I think I think a lot of people, including myself, I think we take it for granted. Honestly, we just pick something up and we're like, oh, it just works, right? We're not really understanding what really goes on into that that actually makes it so convenient for us.
I still marvel over cell phones.
Yeah, definitely.
Having grown up with pagers and then evolving into cell phones, it's
I hear you.
Amazing that we had a social life in high school,
right?
We managed to get together.
Definitely. I mean, gosh, when we were growing up, phone numbers were only 7 digits. I don't know if you remember that or not. They were only 7 digits, and then then everybody, and then we had to start adding area codes. But gosh, I remember those days. That's crazy where we've come.
And now going back to when you were an employee, if I'm listening well, what I got out of that is kind of less is more. Let's break it down, and we don't need how is that played into being a leader in your industry?
I think not over complicating things. I think that definitely in business you have to have the right people on the bus. If you're if you're doing less as far as a manager goes, and you're hiring the right people that don't necessarily need to be managed, that have that same spirit that you do, as far as an entrepreneurial spirit goes. Staffing is really just building your own business within a business that's established for you. It's what you do with that makes your career in staffing. So I had worked, so many times for organizations that were so KPI driven, and I understand KPIs and they're super important, right? But a lot of times the folks that are involved in creating KPIs for their team never had to meet one, and not one, on their own. There's what people that, can't do manage. I think there's a saying, something like that. Like, let's just have this person manage because they're not the best producer. So I think that less is absolutely more. I think that the less that you give your employees, as far as, hey, I need you to make 60 phone calls, 100 phone calls a day, really that person can actually make 4 to 10 phone calls that are actually, they did research on it. They're not so worried, and they're not so worried about the number of phone calls that they have to make in a specific day, but they've done their research. They really spent that time to do research on who they're going to call, putting it together like, hey, I understand. And really, this is what I know what you guys have going on, as far as your organization goes. And this is where we can help you, making those phone calls extremely, impactful and more, more relative. I think that is definitely something that I know that in Velocity, where we have definitely soared. So I'm not really sure if that makes any sense. I think it does, but yeah. And as far as less is more too, in sales or any industry, right? We're always taught that the customer is always right. Well, that's wrong. And it's really, well, that's just, I don't know who that came up. Maybe Robert Kiyosaki. I'm not even really sure. Don't quote me on that. But, I think that was just such a silly thing to go by, because actually more often than not, do I find that, customers don't know what they don't know. Right. So they're not always right. You have to, educate them. Especially when your business. Hey, I'm not going to educate you on, how to make a wafer, or, how to inject silicone into the process of making a microchip, or, or anything like that, because that's not my thing. My thing is, I can educate you on the right ways and the wrong ways to provide, to hire the right people, contingent workforce, so I can bridge that for you and help you with that. And so another thing that goes on with less is more is really understanding that you don't need 50, 60 clients, or even 20. You don't need more clients to make, be impactful and be successful. You really kind of need a large handful of accounts where it's a true partnership. It's respected on both sides. I respect you as a company who is truly invested in their employees, that really care for their employees, don't want high turnover, and they really understand that. So they create a pleasant place for workers. That's, at the end of the day, that's what workers want, and I think that that's what's going to make you more successful as an organization, is if you really have that large handful of partnerships, that is going to make you a more successful organization than just a bunch of, hey, I have 50 MSAs. Well, that's awesome. How many are really active, and how many are actually are you getting an ROI on, right? The answer to that is probably not near 50. So, I think that it's super important to really identify, what's going into a black hole, what's not worth your time, what do you need to move on from, what clients aren't right, but they think they are, and just walk away and move on from them, because there's probably a more fruitful partnership, that's going to, come to light, or, it's right around the corner for you to glom onto and create the partnership that you created a business, for. So that's my opinion.
I love it. well done. Really streamlined. And it was 2019 that you did 100,000.
Yes. And that was actually, I launched it in September.
A year.
It was I launched it in 2019, but to be honest, I didn't really start making placements and actually running the company until April 2020, smack in the middle of the pandemic. And so, yeah, it was 2025 that, or excuse me, 2020 where we made our first 100,000, or I did, because I was actually the only person in the company at that time. So, yeah.
And then what were your revenues in 2020?
2020 it was hovering around $250,000. And then that's when I started, actually at the end of 2020 is when I hired my my brother, who is my senior recruiter. He's been with me for the long haul. We did $250,000 then. I hired him later in 2020. In 2021, we grew it to a little over 3 million together. I started hiring more employees to bring in more sales. And now we're currently over, we're currently over a $20 million organization.
That's outstanding. I applaud you. So no wonder the Greater Women's Business Council recognized you in 2021. Have you been up for nomination again?
I haven't. I was a little skewed and turned off by the council. I was identified and nominated for a Trailblazer Award, being 1 year in business and really killing it, or 2 years in business. The person who won that year had been in business for 12 years, and I didn't really correlate how that was a trailblazer, but congratulations to that person. So I was a little bit jaded about that, and really kind of just focus on maybe my term of a trailblazer isn't necessarily the same as theirs. So, but we have been identified as one of the top 10 construction staffing firms in America. We've been nominated for that a couple of times. And so we have been nominated for a lot of production around what we do, not necessarily the Women's Council, Women's Business Council, but other areas. Yes.
How many salespeople and employees do you actually have? Are they 1099 or actual?
So right now we have 9 internal employees. That encompasses sales, recruiting. I have somebody that's in, on the media side of things. So they do a lot of the media for us and marketing. And then I actually have a part-time worker who is my daughter, who actually does a lot of research and development. So it's yes, we have AI now that can do what I have her doing. But for somebody who is an up and coming CEO of Velocity, I definitely want her to understand in the industry. So I have her constantly reading articles, constantly, in counties and states and cities of what new types of facilities or advanced manufacturing plants are going up and where. And she does all of that research. What's the budget of those? Is it in process? Is it, what stage of the build is it in? Who the main contacts or the project managers are to run that. So I think that's really great. So I have her doing R&D. That's really kind of it. I have an amazing back office comptroller. She's phenomenal. So yeah, we're a small organization, but why I love that, Rudy, is the fact that, again, I worked for a lot of companies that wanted to throw more people at a problem versus maybe just having the right people, and letting go of the folks that weren't necessarily pulling their weight. So I've created the company where I don't want my recruiters or my salespeople spread too thin, right? But that's why I keep a very, very close communication with them. And just say, hey, if I see that business is starting to suffer, hey, we're getting jobs in, we're not supplying the talent for them, that's when I say, okay, now we're in need of adding an additional person. It's not, it's definitely well into the process before I decide to grow the company. And I'm fine with a slow and steady growth. I'm not trying to be the biggest staffing firm around. I preach, and I preach to my staff, and I constantly preach to myself that you have to have that life work balance to keep yourself sane, right? If I don't have a clear head and in trying to run a company, I know I can't run it effectively and as smoothly as I can. And if I'm, if I don't really preach that or practice what I preach with my employees, I think that's when, things start kind of, tipping over a bit. So yeah, I mean, I think that, while we only have 9 and we're smaller, I just want to make sure that they're always going to be financially stable while they work for Velocity. That's, and if they're financially sound and they're meeting their financial goals, that in turn is going to allow them the freedom to meet their professional or their personal goals as well. And that's super important to me.
Are you bringing any of your teammates with you
to Hawaii?
Solo? Yeah.
No, I'm not. The conference that I'm going to in Hawaii this week is actually for C-level executives or higher for really the decision makers in the semiconductor industry.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you're gonna be rubbing shoulders with a lot of smart people.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be the smartest person in the room. That is for sure. But I can drink a Mai Tai with the best of them. That's fine.
But I bet you're having more fun than most of the people in that room.
Probably, yeah. But I do love learning. I mean, I love learning about it. Maybe my mind and brain isn't wired as a lot of these senior executives that have dual engineering backgrounds or degrees, et cetera. And I champion those guys, man. They really do make it, they're just so admirable. I have so much respect for those guys and gals. But yeah, I definitely love to go and actually learn about what's coming down the pike, what's new in data centers, what's new in AI. That type of stuff I really do love and learn. I love to learn about, specifically because the type of talent that we provide, we do kind of need to know and understand what the market trends, what's going on, and that's how we're going to do our best to support clients that are in those industries.
Keep up with stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, in when you're meeting with clients, what kind of coaching do you do with them? Do you encourage them to it's so important to stay curious about your industry, and are there any little nuggets that you try to give your clients?
No, I don't know about anything specific, but I do have that candid conversation with them that, hey, as we build this partnership, please just be respectful of our time, right? If you say that you need this many people and we show up in 2 days with the amount of people that you're asking for, and you sit on them for 2 weeks and you're not interviewing them, or that speaks to me that you're not really that serious about hiring. So that in turn, feels like it was wasting my time and my staff's time. So I always have that candid conversation with a new client of like, hey, to have a successful partnership, we really do need to be honest and hold each other accountable in this. So it's kind of a trial period for us. No matter if the client or the customer, the new client or new customer is, a $3 million organization, or they're a $1 billion organization, we don't care. We're going to prioritize all of our clients equally, and service them to our best, because that's our commitment to them. But in turn, if they're not showing that commitment back and not really being respectful of our time and not serious about hiring, then I have to take a step back and say, okay, what do I do here? What am I going to do with this? Right. I can't. And I think it's crazy, but I just had a conversation with a client of ours the other day. And I said to them, when we first started working with you guys, I held you at such a high regard, as the same equal playing field as all of our other clients. But my team is losing steam working on your jobs. Yes, you provide, hey, we need this, we need that, we need this, and we need that. We show up for you every single time. And then it goes to a standstill. Well, if I have a staff that I am preaching, hey, this is great, this is great, this is great, this is great, pedal to the metal type mentality, and nothing moves, and there's a bunch of obstacles. My team knows, and they're smart enough to understand that all of these other clients that are right next to it, they are filling jobs, they are hiring people, we send them a candidate, they are interviewing them, and they're keeping them moving through the process. At the end of the day, they're here to make money, right? So I think it's really important that you as a business owner, you have those conversations at a high level with people that you're going to, or companies that you're thinking about creating a partnership with, because that can make or break a business, especially in staffing. In staffing, you have to get an ROI on people pretty quick in order to keep it moving. And I'm pretty sure, honestly, in any other production driven environment, I would assume that that's the case, right? When you're in a production driven organization, you need to produce, period. I guess just like anything though, manufacturing, if you're held to a certain standard of manufacturing a widget, as you said, a certain amount of those in, per quarter, but you can't find the technicians, you can't find the mechanical engineers, when one of the machines is breaking down or what have you, your production starts to suffer as well, right? So, I think it's just really important that you are working with the right people, to make sure that you keep going, that it's continuing a process that you created and the workflow is consistent. I think that's just so important.
I love how very clear you are with your clients and just setting some really good boundaries. It sounds like,
yeah.
If your yes be yes and your no be no. Just
yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, we're in staffing. We're not building rocket ships here. It's literally a black and white situation. There are some gray areas, but you have to really figure out if that's going to be fruitful for you or not. The gray area, the gray matter is really what I think companies get into a lot of situations that they can't get themselves out of is because they stay in that area.
I'm curious with and I'm not saying yay Trump or nay Trump, but with the tariff situation, and has there been let me say this, that situation where you had 100 or so white collar professionals,
right,
tech geeks, whatever you want to call them, from South Korea that got deported. Have you had any challenging situations like that where with Mexico and Canada, where
that's actually
were like,
yeah,
like there was some issues with green cards or being able to stay in country, or any challenges relative to that?
Yes and no. I mean, as far as American manufacturing companies versus, you have the one, your Taiwan one, your Taiwan companies, your China companies, Korea. I mean, those are all the biggest players, or some of the biggest players in the industry that we support. But it's all relative to where the manufacturing is happening, right? Because I know that a lot of it was very Trump's administration was being very particular on the types of folks that they were going to keep here, based on the industry that they were in and how impactful it was for the economy, right? we need these engineers here. We need the brightest and the best engineers that are over here on green cards, H4 visas, H1B visas. So I know that they were taking a very, very strict and a close look at the type of work that those professionals were doing here, how impactful that was going to be for the economy. And I think that they were making wise decisions, or, the best decisions that they could, to figure out who we need to make sure that we're keeping here, and the other one, the others that we're deporting, if you will. So I'm sure that they probably had a really good reasoning behind who and who not in that particular process. But you did mention tariffs. Yes, absolutely. Tariffs did kind of take a hit. We did see a lull in our industry, specifically because, although we're in advanced manufacturing, we also we're in advanced manufacturing facilities. So the the construction of these fabs, these data centers, these manufacturing plants, et cetera. And then once those fabs and those facilities are up and running, and they're ready to be commissioned, and they're ready to go and ready to go manufacture, we provide all the talent that's in those as well. Well, where we actually did see kind of a setback was in the area where we weren't getting the products to build these facilities. A lot of these, one of our particular huge clients out of, Texas, really only wanted their products to build their facilities. They wanted it coming in from Korea. It's a Korean company. They wanted their manufacturers of these products to be shipped to America to build their facility, and that's fine. And before tariffs was an actual issue, that's the way that it worked. So yeah, I believe that, definitely tariffs did kind of hit us a little harder, because it delayed a lot of builds that people were trying to get done by the end of the year. Those are actually being pushed to the end of 2026 now. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think that there was probably a great reason, very strategic reason for them to implement this. And I think that we all know, President Trump is all about trying to save money as wherever he can, right? And really bring manufacturing, home and in the United States. And I love that he wants that, because at the end of the day, we do need to actually serve, American citizens, right? We do need to make sure that, they're the ones, they're here, they're American citizens. They need to, they definitely need to be able to, get the jobs that are available to them in their, degree designations, et cetera. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of right and wrong way to do it, but I'm nobody to tell the Trump administration how to do it. But yeah, we definitely took a little bit of a hit for that. And so did our clients.
I think it's really more of a long game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, wanting quick results. I think we're not necessarily going to see results from it.
Yeah.
As soon as people would like. Gotta just buckle up and give it a chance.
Well, patience is probably the virtue that everybody struggles with the most, right? I know I do. But yeah, good things happen in time. And I do think that everything is going to be, just fine. Not that I'm an internal optimistic in any sense of those words, but yeah, I do think that we are a society that wants it, and we want it now. We don't want to wait. But when you're in this type of situation, yeah, absolutely, you're right, Rudy. I definitely think once the dust settles and everything is agreed upon, yeah, I think we're all absolutely going to be better off. It's just not going to happen right away. I mean, think about how many years it took to implement the mess, right? And implement so much of this stuff that we're trying to fix or enhance. And it took a lot of years to put those things into motion. It's going to take it's going to take some time to undo it too. So we just got to be patient, let the chips fall where they may, but I'm going to stay optimistic about it for sure.
Got to stay optimistic.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, I like to think of it as like somebody who is trying to lose weight, right? They get so frustrated when they're going on the treadmill for 3 weeks and they've only lost 2 pounds, and they're like, but my goal is 50 pounds and yada yada yada. But if you think about it, you didn't gain that 50 pounds in 2 weeks. You know, you gained that 50 pounds over a really long time. And so, yeah, it's going to take a lot longer, you know, than expected to get those pounds off, because it took a while for you to put them on. So, you know, I think maybe we can look at it that way. Look at it that way.
Mama always says, debt and weight, they're easy and fun to put on, but a bitch to take off.
Isn't that the truth? I like that. I'm going to use that. That's funny. Yeah. That's awesome. I love it.
Is there a project that you're working on right now that you're like, wow, this particular project energizes me so much? What would that look like? It sounds like you get energized by just about all of it, but is there something that, like, I love that you're in the sustainability and environmental space.
A lot of organizations are turning towards a green manufacturing, way of manufacturing, and I really love that. You know, everybody wants a more sustainable world, right? You know, I definitely think that's for the future generations, coming in and growing up now. Is we really do have to think about their future as well, and how these manufacturing plants are taking its toll on the environment. It's not a secret. It is happening. It's not only happening here in America, but I think every country has to do their part in green manufacturing. So I launched Velo Eco a couple of years ago because I knew that green manufacturing was going to be on the forefront of everybody's minds over the next 10 years, and we're starting to see that. So Velo Eco, yeah, anything that has to do on the sustainability side of the house, on green manufacturing, water treatment plants to, reuse the water, reuse copper waste instead of just wasting it, all of the waste that comes from manufacturing facilities, doing our best to recycle those products, those chemicals, et cetera. And to reuse all of that. I think that really gets me going. I'm really excited about that, specifically because that's really our future. How we manufacturing the necessities that we have now is really going to elongate the process of how long the world is going to be able to sustain all of this mass manufacturing that we have going on worldwide, not just here.
100%.
Yep. So
I like to think of myself as a offsite pastry chef.
Okay.
Are you looking for offsite pastry chefs? You've got your nine core people.
Uh-huh.
Do you have, outside of that, do you have some other offsite pastry chefs? Pardon the sophomoric term.
Yeah.
I just always like that term.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you asking if I'm looking for additional support?
Well, I'm just thinking of content in our podcast here.
Yeah.
Listeners going, hey, I gotta get a hold of Velo.
Yeah.
Which I love that name so much. It feels like it'd be like the best rock band name.
Velo? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they have I think there's like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like nicotine chew patches. I think that's what it is Velo. And some vape. So every time I see these Velo signs everywhere, and it's not staffing, I kind of chuckle, and I always take a photo for the team. I'm like, oh, look, somebody else is, promoting us, but it's not my logo. It's just kind of funny. But I'm always looking for, organizations. Here's the great thing about Velocity. Or Velo is the fact that we are very adaptable, even though we are in the sustainability side of the house and advanced manufacturing in construction of facilities. You know, I learned a long time ago that a good recruiter can recruit on anything, and I wholeheartedly do believe that. You know, when I first started in advanced manufacturing, and I heard the word commissioning, I had no idea what the heck that was. And thank God for the Google machines, right? I went on and I was like, oh my God, commissioning. I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. And, you know, and then, you know, just went on from there. But, you know, as I think that as long as it's staying in and around the industries that we are in, you know, I've had a lot of refineries reach out for our services, and we necessarily weren't in the refinery area, but it does, you know, fall underneath a certain type of plant, right? And at the end of the day, superintendents, project managers, you know, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and skilled tradesmen, at the end of the day, their skills are very versatile. So their skills, you know, can, you know, they can, you know, work over here in a semiconductor plant, but a lot of their skills can also work at a refinery as well. Because at the end, you know, at the end of the day, electrical components, mechanical components, they're so, a lot of them are very similar. You know, so they can be, there's a lot of versatility in those areas and those designations.
I have to go back to the beginning when I introduced the podcast as the Rudy Project.
Yeah.
I just have to address that because it might sound a little vainglorious. Have you ever heard of the Rudy Project?
No.
It's actually an Italian brand that makes helmets and eyewear for cycling and skiing.
Oh, cool.
My sister gave me a pair of Rudy Project ski goggles years ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was going up the lift, the ski lift a couple of years later that I had this kind of epiphany moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm the project.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can work on me.
That's awesome.
I have to do the work.
I love that. That's awesome.
So,
well, the brilliant name then. I love it.
And I I did not like my name at all growing up.
Mm-hmm.
People would give me a hard time, especially at Christmas, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, shoot.
You know,
yeah, I bet.
Sensitive little kids can be. And well, I got over that. And now I'm quite fond of my name. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay.
I'm so curious exactly. Well, not, you don't have to exactly tell me, but I mean, that's such phenomenal growth over a couple of years period. And now you're at 20 million. That's phenomenal. Do you have growth goals over the next couple of years?
You know, just to keep growing, you know, I think a steady 10% growth for me year over year, which, you know, obviously we've been at, you know, we grew 50% between 2024 and 2025. But, you know, I think just a steady growth, you know, you don't want to have a decline, but I don't really, you know, Rudy, I've had, you know, a lot of ups and downs, a lot, you know, I've had a little bit more of a personal challenge in life. And when I first started Velocity, I was go, 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 go. It was so important to grow. It was so important to make that that next buck or this, that, and the other. Until life throws something at you and smacks you in the face. I think
it really. Thank you for sharing that the other day. That's quite a smack.
Yeah, it was a crazy smack. And, you know, so although I want to grow, I think what's also just as important is that I continue to grow and evolve as a business owner and really understand that there's going to be a lot of challenges that are thrown at you as a business owner and as a human, and really just, you know, my goal is to constantly overcome those and persevere no matter what life throws at you, you know, big or small. So I think that if I keep my eye on the prize and evolve as a leader, consistently work on myself as a leader, and identify in my employees how they can continuously evolve as team members, that's going to naturally grow the business. And that's actually my goal, is to make sure that everybody's mental health is good. Everybody understands that, hey, this is a bump in the road. We're going to get past it. How we get past that, we're going to do it together, and it's going to make you better. It's going to make you a better employee. It's going to make you a better, leader. It's going to make you a better mom, a better dad, a better brother, etc. So while I have, financial goals of just continuing to grow, I really think that that's going to stem from how we continue to grow as people that work here. And I think that's really the growth financially is just going to come as long as we stay, intact and really just kind of continue to focus on ourselves and how we can be better at what we do.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but your trajectory was just like this, and now it sounds like just managed, sustainable growth.
Yeah, it is. And I'm very happy with it. And that's what I'm thankful for, right? I'm thankful that we're still here. I'm thankful that we do have, I think we're at the point where we have people knocking on our door instead of actively doing sales, which I love. And that's where I wanted to get the organization is really now our name speaks for itself, right? Our services speak for itself. Our employees, on the candidate side, candidates love working with the recruiters. Clients, they love working with the folks that we have in sales here. We just have a really good reputation. We have a good name and foundation behind us. So I know that the growth will always be there, knock on wood. But if we just continue to do what we do and provide the services without overthinking things, I know we're going to get where we always want to go.
Just keep loving on your people.
Yeah, I love them. I have the best team ever. I'm so thankful for them. I think and pray for them every night.
And then keeping that less is more, like growing with more and more employees doesn't always work out as well as we would like it to.
No, absolutely. I don't think so. Definitely not always trying to fit square pegs in round holes. That's not really my mentality. That's definitely not the way it works. Or at least we work, or I work. But yeah. So. Yeah.
So, I really am trying to create something of value to you and the audience. But the little undercurrent thing there is like, I also want to explore ways that I might be able to be a help to you. Back to the offsite pastry chef thing.
Yeah.
Would you be open to another call when you get back, just a discovery call where we have a different conversation about how I might be able to help you?
Absolutely. Definitely. I think that would be fantastic. Yeah. Or how I can help you too. I mean, we're both, digging different ditches, but we're using the same tools to do it. Right. So, we're both trying to build something, and anything that I can do to help you as well, I would love that.
And yeah, at the core of it, why are we here? We're here to help each other.
Absolutely. Right. Yep.
I put something in the mail to you last Thursday. And when you open it, just know that it's not an inducement.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that. But I think you'll really, really enjoy it.
Okay. Very cool. Yay. I love getting stuff. I don't get it often, but I love getting stuff.
I won't say any more, but it's just something I really enjoy doing, sharing.
Okay. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Great.
It's amazing how quickly an hour goes by. It feels like,
yeah.
I know it's a good call, a good conversation when it feels like 7 or 8 minutes. Yeah,
it definitely didn't feel like an hour. That's for sure. And there's a lot to talk about too all the time. So I'm always happy to be a guest. And if there's a topic that you think that maybe I could be instrumental being part of it, then I would definitely welcome that conversation anytime.
Yeah, I want to circle back to you at some point to have a podcast specific to what we talked about on the phone last week. So, that can happen obviously when you get back from Maui.
Okay.
2 different calls, the podcast specific to what we talked about. And then also I'll send you a link for a what I call a discovery call.
Yeah, that would be great. Because as you know, I think as we talked about, I definitely think that there's a lot of people that would resonate with that topic.
And back to your youngest daughter, how amazing that you already have a succession plan.
Oh yeah,
sort of.
Yeah,
it's evolving as you go. But she's a sophomore in high school, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And does she already? Are you having that conversation? Shouldn't I go to college? I mean, it sounds like she could just graduate high school and go right full time to Velo.
Yeah, and she could. However, I not going to college. And I know that she well, mom, and I always hear that, well, mom, you didn't go and you're fine. And yeah, absolutely, you're right with that. However, I do depending on what you go to college for. I don't think that I'm not a promoter of going to college just so you can say that you got a degree and something that you're never going to use. I think life experiences triumph all of that. But she definitely, I want her to get the experience of being in college. I want her to have that experience. She's extremely smart and loves, she really does love to learn. So I think that she would benefit from going to college. But also, as a CEO, one of the things that I wish I knew more, and I wish I would have kind of taken a lot more courses on or gotten my degree in, is international business or accounting, to really understand and work through the financials of owning your organization, because currently I have to outsource a lot of that. I'm still overseeing it at a high level, but I would love for her to have that backbone of really understanding international business from an education level. I think that's only her personality is already there. She's going to be fantastic at it. She's really like a little mini me, and she hears me. I have recruited with both girls, in a baby Bjorn on my chest from 2 weeks since they were been born. They know recruiting in and out because they hear me all day. And I get calls in the car and they're like, what happened? Did that person not show up to work? Well, what happened? Why did they do that? And what's going to happen now? I'm like, well, I got to go backfill them. Oh, you do? They know all the job, she knows all of the lingo, and she knows all of what I do. But what I really think is going to benefit her as the next CEO of Velocity is really having that foundation of understanding all facets of it, especially from a financial and accounting background. Because the rest, I got her. I can teach her all of that. That's easy. As far as the other stuff, though, I want her to know that, and I want her to learn it, and I want her to be degreed in it.
Well, I applaud you in that directive for her. There's so much value beyond an education in college, just the socialization skills, living on your own for the first time, all those things will.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So well.
Yeah, and she's going to soar in college. She's going to love it. I want her to study abroad. I think that would be really great for her too. We were in Italy recently, and we had met some American girls that came over to the town Manarola, into Manarola, which is in Cinque Terre. And so we were hanging out and talking to them in a coffee shop because I noticed they were American, and they were all there from America and studying international business. They had come in from Spain for the weekend to hang out in Manarola. And I looked at her and I'm like, that's going to be you. That is what you need to do. You need to, you just need that. Those girls right there are going to have such so much more life experiences from studying abroad that so many people don't get in life. And I even though her and I can travel leisurely to these places, her studying abroad and actually, using purpose, having purpose to it, it's going to make her amazing. Even better than she would normally, she would be already at it if she didn't go and study abroad.
Was that her first time in Europe?
No. We like Europe. We go to Europe quite a bit.
I travel 4+ months out of the year.
Good. Gosh, I need to get there. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I need to be a little more disciplined in my work.
Yeah, but you know what?
Total loser, man.
Tomorrow's not promised to any of us, Rudy.
Yeah,
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Travel to as many places as you can, as often as you can.
I agree.
You can always make money. Can't always make memories.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're
just borrowing this time, aren't we?
I just lost my dad in February. He lived an amazing 97 years.
Wow.
So it was an incredible celebration of life. My mom's 10 years younger at 88. And as long as she wants to go to Europe, I'm going to keep taking her. We went to France and Denmark for a month last year. Not too much travel this year with my dad passing, but I just bought tickets to go to London.
Good for you.
Just before Christmas. So I'm like, as long as she wants to go, I'm going to keep taking her.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. One of our favorite places, and it wasn't in Europe, but one of our favorite places was we went to Fairbanks, Alaska to see the Northern Lights. That's where Scarlett wanted to go.
I said amazing. I've only seen it once.
Oh, it was amazing. And we, I'm not sure how you feel about cold, but we stayed in an igloo resort called the Borealis Base Camp. And so all of the igloos are made of fiberglass, but the ceilings are clear. So you can just lay in bed and listen and watch the Northern Lights all night. It is magical. It is probably one of the most heavenly experiences you'll ever have. It's really cool.
That sounds epic.
It's amazing.
Really,
highly recommend it. Yeah. So put that one on the old list there, Rudy.
I will. And I'll text you. Text me when you get your package.
Okay. I will. Absolutely. Hopefully I get it before I leave to Hawaii.
I think you will.
Okay.
You'll probably get it tomorrow.
Awesome. All right, good. Yeah, I will definitely.
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on the call, the Rudy Project. And this has been really great to hear your story.
Awesome.
So this is Tamara Dawn Ellestad from Mooresville and Velocity Consulting Services.
Yep.
Or Velo.
I'm a counselor sometimes too, trust me.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, happy travels to Maui.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rudy. Take care.